Sorry, I thought I would have to sneeze and didn't want to scare everyone. So hello and welcome to another stream with me, Christian Rauchenwald, on this beautiful yet likely very volatile Monday after a chaotic 3-day weekend. I don't even know where to start today. So it looks, when we look on the, I'm gonna share the screen, obviously, gonna drag that over there. I'm gonna push a magic button and we should see the screen. And let's start by saying hello. Hello, Mr. Cortex from Wales, and hello, Ben from Arkansas. Hello, everyone else. It looks like today we have a smaller crowd. I didn't manage to write a post on Reddit, and after reading some of the stuff on Reddit, I didn't feel like writing a post, to be honest. And so today might be like more relaxed. It's also nice and means that, yeah, like overall it's going to be less confusing. In addition to that, a lot of things have been going on. Yeah, the Dark Dawn already says, write it on our super stunk. Yeah, we're going to get into all of that, I guess. But let's start with looking at GameStop pre-market. I think at one point it was down to, we're actually going to go to NASDAQ for that to see the actual pre-market history. It was down to 150. For us, obviously, pre-market and aftermarket for Elliott wave theory are not really relevant. However, I took the time on Friday or Saturday to reread a little bit of the Elliott wave principle and read a bit of the parts that I skipped, and relabeled the charts. Also took the time to deal with wave bases a little more and the drill down feature. And on the weekend I actually came up with a pattern that would indicate that we have a drop to 150 first. I think that would align with Mario's assessment, thinking that there is a longer, very complicated corrective pattern. And yeah, yesterday I was live and did my portfolio review of my eToro Popular Investors portfolio, basically talking about the positions that I'm gonna keep, change, and why I closed certain things and so on. Overall, I was quite happy with my Popular Investor performance in March with like 6% return. Anyway, two things. So first of all, the option number 2 that I was able to label out on the weekend, I shared that in yesterday's video as well, somewhere towards the end. So the whole beginning is about all the other positions in my regular Popular Investors portfolio, and then towards the end it was more about GameStop. So kind of regret that I didn't post about it when I actually came up with that second possible labeling. We will see if it comes true, because again, for us pre-market is irrelevant, but if we could potentially see a drop to 150. Now, in case somebody new is here and is wondering how accurate Elliott waves are, I also, looking through my existing positions, stumbled upon my, not Tesla, but Palantir positions, and I think it's a prime example for Elliott wave theory. Yeah, so I'm gonna zoom out here a little bit and hide some projected areas real quick. Need to move that so I can, like I really love wave bases, but as soon as you add some other elements on top of the waves, you can see it becomes next to impossible to highlight. Now it works, the waves, so you can make your changes. Now what we see here in Palantir is actually really nice. So it's that daily chart, in case you haven't noticed, and I'm gonna move my camera a little bit so you see everything. So we would have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern that took us up here, which again is something where I have to say thank you to Mario for being insisting about it, because last week he insisted or pointed out that he would label the corrective pattern longer, and I said I'm not comfortable with labeling the end of the wave not at the lowest point. However, when we do that, so first of all, we are able to see we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and I'm not sure if that one works out perfectly, don't remember. But yeah, like here we see that our wave 5 reaches the median of that trend channel that we can draw here, or if we are a little bit more open to how we design it, if we put the 2, 1, we basically exceeded here a little bit. However, not about that, but overall, yeah, there are, can't get a prediction. Screw you. If we look at the predicted price area, so once we had this high, and if we assumed we would have labeled it like this, it would have already told us of the drop. Now it went a little bit further here, but that's overall fine. And the same the other way, yeah, getting rid of trend channels. Rid of trend channel. Ugh. The same the other way. Okay, our wave 5 would fall short based on this prediction. However, what we can beautifully do here is make a trend channel from 0 to 2 and with a parallel through 1. And on top of that, when we look at this pattern here, it literally hits the nail on the spot for Elliott wave theory for basically 0.2, 3, and 4. 0.5, according to the prediction from this, hasn't been fully reached, although if we take the prediction from here to here, we are already in that area. So Palantir is, in my opinion, something that is like a really great example of how we can label Elliott wave patterns and how often our labeled predictions get right. And yeah, so that said, I increased my Palantir position in my popular investors account, or I will in 26 minutes, by 50%. I originally entered too early, somewhere here, because I already perceived this might be the low. Yeah, now I'm increasing it. There's still a potential for a little further drop, and that little further is like 20% or so, which obviously is an acceptable drop. But in my opinion, obviously, as mentioned, my opinion, not financial advice, in Palantir we will then see wave 3 unfolding. So either it's already unfolding with this here, or it will fall a little bit further and it will start to unfold then, and the price target is north of, for me, it's north of $100 per share, which means basically, even if it's like, that's not something where it's like it's going to go up to there in a week or in a month or so. So we're talking about a long-term investment, but I expect it to pay off nicely. So just wanted to share that. So it's really a nice example of how Elliott waves can be labeled, and also how, like, if you have a perfect pattern in quotes, yeah, like here you can connect 0.2 to 4, and if you draw a parallel to 0.3, or actually through 0.1 in that case, you see that the whole thing forms a nice trend channel, although wave 3 here exceeds a little bit, yeah, and which would also justify that wave 5 falls a little bit short, yeah. So, but again, still possible it goes down here, in my opinion, yeah. Just wanted to cover that. Now, Broski, what do you think happened? Shorted it again, lol. Now, there is an announcement from GameStop that they will issue another 3.5 million shares, which may sound like a bad thing, but they have to make that announcement. It's not said that they will, it just means they make that announcement so they can. They can do this now basically at any time. They limited it to 3.5 million shares or $1 billion, which means 3.5 million, 1, 2, 3. Theoretically, if they do it at a share price of 285, they could issue the full 3.5 million. If the share price is above 285 when they do it, they can issue less than 3.5 million because it's limited to $1 billion. Or if they do it now, they could, or at below 285, they could also issue the entire 3.5 million, but would not reach the $1 billion cap. Yeah. So now, likely, that's perceived per some as negative news. Overall, it doesn't really change something, because if you think about it, it's actually explained. Okay, I don't have it open anymore, but it's explained. If you think about the company is worth, let's say, $100,000, and now they issue, and each share has a value of $100. Yeah. Now, when they issue more shares and they sell those shares, they make money, so the company is not worth $100,000 anymore, but $110,000. But there are more shares, so each share is still valued at $100. So it has technically no influence on the value of the company. It only influences the earnings per share. So if a stock has, I don't know, an earnings per share, or yeah, like earnings per share ratio of 20 or so, and then there are new shares issued, and investors follow or judge a stock only by that metric and say, I don't know, like it can only be valued at 20 earnings per share or 10 earnings per share ratio, then it would mean that some would sell because they would think it's now overvalued. Yeah. So overall, in my opinion, the issuance of or issuing new shares has, especially considering that that is roughly 5% or pretty much exactly 5% of the available stock, has very little effect. Yeah. And yeah, so as far as I understand, they just changed the limit in their filing from 100 million to 1 billion. So you mean there was a previous filing, or but yeah, so basically point is that like here, in no event will the company sell more than 3.5 million shares, and aggregate gross proceeds will not exceed 1 billion. So that's the core point here. But after the fact, or if we consider that, it just means that if they would sell the entire 1 billion, then the company's value would also increase by 1 billion because they suddenly would have that 1 billion in cash, and therefore the value per share should stay the same. It really depends again on how investors react to it. It might be that GameStop also is considering what if a short squeeze happens, but that's pure speculation, and that then they basically want the option that if a short squeeze happens, that they also can get a cool billion out of it, in which case they would obviously sell way less than 3.5 million shares. So like a lot of cases where this makes sense. I don't know if issuing and selling new shares has any other side effects, like, I don't know, forcing recounts or I don't know what, that may play in our favor, but I don't think so, because if it were the case, then likely there would already be some post about it. Yeah. Now, okay, the Dark Drawn mentions he mentioned it. Yeah, as far as I understand, they just changed it, and Michael clarified, yes, it's an amendment. So to an open filing since 2008, that's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, but yeah, so then it might just be like they might just see that the open filing from 2008 doesn't really make sense anymore, considering yeah, like inflation and everything else since then for 13 years, yeah, and it might be that they never exercise this option. Yeah. Now, what else do we have? So we have the pre-market, which is likely based on this news, pressured a little down. In addition to that, yeah, like Facebook actually looks stable again. There was Facebook news about 500 million data sets leaked, blah, 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 for free, published on the internet. So nobody sold them, but published them for free. And Citadel filing that they will close their Facebook position or something like that. Already before that or after that, I didn't look too deep into that part, but it's a little bit, again, just circumstantial and speculation that it could be that Citadel had their hands into kind of like getting some negative news for Facebook again, so that maybe they can short a little bit, make some profits, and I don't know, yeah, like, doesn't really matter because we're looking at GameStop, yeah. And what else did we have on the weekend? So the first thing we had is like we have a new subreddit called Superstonk, based on, I'm not sure if I can piece it fully together or if I even want to, but I noticed there was a post. So I noticed that Warden Elliott, or Warden Elliott, so Warden, got temporarily banned from GME and for rule violation. Something I didn't notice, but and might have been an overreaction, but he did violate the rules because upon checking again, his posts were containing self-promotion, and which is kind of okay. Like my posts also contain, here's the information, and if you want to know more or if you want to watch me live, then here's my YouTube link. However, Warden went so far that he put his Ko-fi donation link in the Reddit posts. And apparently, I have no proof for that, but according to some comments, he was warned doing that, he removed that. So he was warned by a moderator, he removed that, and then he made an edit and edited back in or something like that. In any case, having donation links in there, definitely a rule violation. I think with somebody who provides value, not everybody might agree with that his posts are like predictions or valuable, just like not everybody will agree that my content provides any kind of value, but a lot of people appreciated the content, so I think the mods should have in that case simply warned him. And if it's true that he removed it and edited the link back in, then the ban is okay. Yeah, then it's like, okay, you clearly don't care about rules and care more about a donation link. Yeah, but I don't think that's accurate. I have no proof for that, so I think there was an overreaction there. Then there was some stuff going on with Rensol, the user that writes the daily, not daily summary. I don't know what it's called. I forgot the word. So there we have it, synopsis. Yeah, which kind of provides you with a summary of all the things that are important right now. And apparently he was asked to resign as a moderator, and then things just escalated and so on. I think overall it's just a kindergarten and not really relevant. Yeah. Personally, on a side note, I'm happy that Rensol found a new place. Yeah, so that our super stonk was started here. Two things I want to point out, however, like, so he also posted the same synopsis on GME, and there it got removed for tagging moderators and self-promotion. And everybody is defending Rensol in that case and saying like, no, it's not self-promotion or promotion, not self-promotion, but promotion. And everybody's defending him and saying it's not promotion and not tagging. However, like, we have to look at the facts. Like, and the facts are, he mentions, while he doesn't tag a lot, or other than Red Chess Queen, which is a moderator on the new sub and a former moderator in the old sub. While he doesn't tag them, he mentions moderators per name, which could be considered tagging, and pointing out, I will most likely be in our super stonk, or our Spielstopp, which would be German for GameStop, is definitely promotion of another subreddit. So, like, not surprised that that post got removed from our GME. If he would have not named specific moderators and would have phrased it differently and simply said, if I do get banned, feel free to check my profile to see if I'm active in any other sub, then the moderators of RGME wouldn't have any area of attack here to remove his posts. Yeah, but I think like that part is definitely so. Like, I think it's kindergarten on the whole GME side, but one also has to be fair that the GME mods now removing this post and clarifying that it happened because he tagged moderators, which technically he didn't. He mentioned them by name without tagging, but still. But the bigger part is he promoted another subreddit. So like, kind of like, okay, leave this ship behind and follow me to go there. Yeah, so no surprise that it got removed. Yeah. Now, that's not all. It's like only 3 days, but there was so much drama. I don't know why, but there was obviously also a post from some guy that talked about that Warden is grifting with his donation links. Yeah, and yeah, like, everybody can look at it the way they want. I think while I'm gonna go out here that far that I say, or to say, in my opinion, like, well, for example, deep fucking value is our whole leader in quotes. Like, everybody makes his own decisions, but we kind of look, is he still holding or not? And when he shares his YOLO updates, well, for sure, I'm not saying that he does it for a financial purpose, but it also serves him, because every time we see his YOLO updates, it confirms for us that he's still holding, so nobody of us is selling, which makes it less likely that the price drops, which makes it a financial benefit for him, in quotes. Yeah, like, if we really spin that out to like, how could one possibly benefit? Yeah. In my case, when I write my posts and I mention my YouTube channel, then obviously, while the YouTube channel isn't monetized yet, but thanks to those posts and all of you guys that show up, I actually now fulfilled the requirements for monetization. So at some point in the future, it may or may not be monetized and so on. So I wouldn't call it grifting. I think if it's true that Warden put the donation link in the post, then got warned, removed it and edited it back in again, then I would yeah, like see that as a negative trait, but overall the service he provides, it's okay. My personal opinion on donations, by the way, is I dislike them a lot. I think during one of my first streams, somebody asked like if I have a link where they can donate something, and I really dislike them a lot. Like, it may be Warden's first YouTube channel and he just may not know it and so on, and I get that he reinvests the money that he gets donated to pay for subscriptions, to get better data, to provide better analysis, yeah. But the reason why I dislike them a lot is because I already have, actually, my wife and I already have 2 monetized YouTube channels, and the biggest one of those channels basically this year alone made us more than $20,000 just from views. And it's not a super big million of people channel, it's a channel with 30,000 subscribers and around 15,000 views per day. Yeah? And in a niche that's likely not paying as much in ad revenue like finances or trading does. Yeah? So that's why when I see YouTube channels that are asking for donation, yeah, I always personally dislike it. Now, it's up to Warden to have donation links, and I'm not judging it, it's just my personal preference. Yeah, like so, and I'm not even sure if his channel is fully monetized and since when it's monetized and so on. So yeah, like, and he definitely, I'm a fan of work should be paid. He obviously benefits not just from theoretical donations, just like if I provide you with a prediction, and let's say there are thousands of people watching, and I say I would buy, I'm not going to say you should buy, but I would say I would buy at this price, and then thousands of people end up buying and driving up the price, yeah. But I already bought a little bit earlier, and before I tell you I will sell here, I actually sell a little bit lower, so on, yeah. So there's definitely already some benefit in influencing the masses, yeah. Like, so yeah, but yeah, I'm happy about all the work that Warden does, that Rensold does, that It's Me Pixel did and or probably may do again. There he is, hey, it's Pixel, yeah. So I'm really happy about the time they put in. I'm a fan of, or I'm totally for, that people should be rewarded for their efforts and benefit from it. But yeah, like, and on YouTube or on Twitter or any other platform, everyone can do what they want. But yeah, like Reddit, there are some rules and they should apply for everyone. So yeah, so we have that. So I think that sums the drama up a little bit. Like, honestly, going too deep into it and really trying to figure out, did Warden edit and add a link back or not? Who cares? Yeah, like at this point, like, seriously, he puts in a lot of effort. If he made a couple thousand in donations from people that wanted to show their gratitude financially, congratulations to him. If he used a couple hundred or all that money to buy more software so he can provide better updates, also great. Yeah, yeah. So, and yeah. So, but yeah. So kindergarten is right. Good morning, fellow apes. Yep. Hello, Wave. First of all, you predicted the drop. Respect. David, you were there yesterday, where I talked about the second option, how I think it could be that we label it differently and see a drop to 150. But we don't count the pre-market, so the pre-market drop is kind of irrelevant to us and everyone else, so we will see how that goes, yeah. But yeah, one post on the old GME Reddit that I think is like really, I think that's the post that really matters. Like, honestly, everything else is like just entertainment for us. And in other quotes, like that guy or girl, Binbender, yeah, takes a very conservative approach and to calculate the short interest, blah, 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 and that they eventually need to be covered, blah, 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 and so on. And that there is basically like only a couple of options based on conservative numbers, that either we really will be able to dictate the price, or that would be, I think, case A here. And case B is we don't fully own enough shares, so us apes, to dictate the price, but combined with a few whales, we actually do. And in the end, we still end up with, yeah, like more than enough prices. He also mentions that if a whale has invested only 1% of their portfolio, it will exceed the value of the rest of their portfolio already at a price of 20,000 per share. Doesn't mean that that whales would sell at that price. It's just to provide perspective. And so it's really like very conservative. It's not one of those posts that goes into huge or that takes something and then speculates on top of it. It's literally taking official numbers and trying to pick the conservative side of it. And even using all of that, it looks quite good for us, to be honest. And the real point of this post is, first of all, that's what I also always consider. If they are not scared, then why is the news coverage of GameStop always focusing on the negative points? So like pre-market drop, who cares? Yeah. Or last time when MarketWatch announced the drop before it happened, yeah, and stuff like that. Why are they actually paying people to provide, to spread their fear, yeah, or yeah, like whatever, on Reddit? And they definitely do. We've seen screenshots of job postings from Upwork, which is a freelancer platform. I personally received messages of people so worried about my financial well-being, telling me to sell at $100 per share, yeah, and so on, yeah. And why do that if you're not scared that this thing actually plays out, yeah? And then on top of that, it's kind of like if we're completely wrong, shorts are covered and so on, blah, 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 then Deep Fucking Value is a value investor. He's still holding and he didn't sell at 480, so he expects it to go up further and so on. And pretty much our long-term outlook, or my long-term outlook, is also bullish for GameStop. So even without a squeeze or so on, I think that's the best post, because it's like literally only some data to try to show why there will be a squeeze, but using the conservative data without insane or questionable speculation, combined with, hey, and even if all of that wrong, look at this, this, and this, and it still looks great for us, yeah, so, but yeah. And blah, blah, blah. You know what's fucking unfair though? This dip happens on Easter and German markets are closed, so I can buy the dip. Well, depends on your broker, you know, like, I mean, that's why I personally like eToro in that fact, because they actually have the US stocks on the US exchange, yeah. Theoretically, I mean, there's a link to my profile, which also serves as an eToro affiliate link, obviously, but if you really want to buy more, you just open a quick account at the broker. Yeah, like I know, I mean, there are maybe other options, but I know for eToro, they allow you to deposit and basically already invest, likely before they force you to verify your address and identity. So might be an option, although your eToro account would be in US dollars, so you have the risk of the exchange rate between euro and US dollar changing. Yeah, but yeah, so personally I deposited another €1,000 today, but I actually used that to buy Palantir in that case. Like, it's simply, as showed earlier, it simply looks to me like this is really the bottom of wave 2 with like a 5 to 6 times upside to it. And not buying that seems like, to me, would be dumb. Yeah. And in GameStop, I already have a couple of thousand in there, and yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the dollar will lose in value. Yeah, so that's it's like a valued argument. Yeah, considering how much money they are printing there right now. But yeah, I wanted to share this post, so we got that covered. The new subreddit is called Super Stonk. I'm still a member in our GME for now as well, but last time I checked, the posts just become worthless. Like, and apparently most of the posts get deleted. So people are just, yeah, like playing out the drama in the kindergarten. Yeah, so there is no real, oh my god, this is great or this is important, but it's literally just more and more complaints, or yeah. Rensoul post removed, there are super stock, the new home, blah, 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 yeah. Yeah, oh, that's also, I forgot about that. GameStop also announced that they're yeah, in the first 9 weeks of the year, they have an increase of approximately 11%. Compared to the prior year, so also good numbers, yeah, yeah. And yeah, so like I think this is just a pure waste of time to, yeah, like even try to find something valuable in there. Yeah, I'm gonna close that. And we already looked at that. Yeah, pre-market is over in 2 minutes. So yeah, and we are, where did we start? 190, yeah, so there's a dip. Actually interesting because yesterday I mentioned that based on the second labeling that I could come up, either 175 or 150 would be where we actually would have our turnaround, if I recall it right. And looks like we're gonna be in that area. Now it's like pure luck. Also followed the wish of some users and changed my trading view to dark so that you guys don't get blinded if I switch to that. And yeah, in wave basis, as mentioned, I figured out the drill down tool. So basically how it works, and it's actually quite amazing. So labeling like this, for example, whereas my wave 4 would actually be here, then you can right click, drill down forward, and now let's say from the monthly chart or 60 minutes times 24 hours times 7 days. So we want to jump to the weekly chart and we can link those, and it will split the screen and it will try to auto label from the point forward, and the charts are synchronized. You see when I zoom on the right one, it also does the same, and the same with scrolling. And when I hover something, you might not see it properly, but it also, on the left chart, it also highlights the point that I'm hovering. Yeah? So if I hover properly, so yeah. But which kind of like allows you to narrow things down. I think most of our labeling is unchanged for quite some time. So we have our wave 4, and here's our assumption wave 1, wave 2. And from here, basically, that's now on the weekly. From here, we can narrow it down and again go drill down forward, and we would jump to daily and again link the charts. It will become a little bit crowded at some point. Okay, it doesn't work. Tip. Daily link charts. Let's try this again. Okay, might have to refresh and wait another minute so that there is data also for lower time frames. There looks like we now have data. And let's see if we can jump down to daily. Fingers crossed. No, okay. Let's try to jump down directly, yeah, so to daily GME. I also tried something else, which I'm going to show you in a second or in a minute. So, okay, here we would be on the daily chart. And anyway, I'm just going to quickly put our 1, 2 here that we assumed. Yeah. And then that's unchanged with our price target of, should be at around 1500. Yep, so unchanged. And now let's try drill down from here forward, first on the hourly chart. Fingers crossed that it works. Yep. So it's basically from that point number 2 that we have here forward, and it would indicate wave 1 and now wave 2. Now we assumed that this here is wave 2, especially zoomed in on the 5-minute chart. And Mario pointed out that he thinks we have a longer corrective pattern moving here. And obviously this drop would likely confirm that. And I'm not 100% sure if I remember it right, but I think the labeling that we had at some point to assume that this might be A, B, and we're currently working towards C. So that was pretty much the alternative labeling. So that we're currently working towards C, and then this will actually become our wave 2, which also works nice. We had that already at some point where we had another wave from, I think, here that would go nicely down, or from here, and then everything went just up further and kind of like invalidated the assumption. But yeah, so at the moment, it already fell into the area that I thought yesterday that we'll at least or likely might see 175. Although, to be precise, I didn't say, oh my God, I relabeled and we were wrong, it will not go up, it will definitely fall. What I said is like I see two options now. Either our current labeling was right and it will go the upside, or we see a drop to either 175 because I labeled it, I don't know how I labeled it, but basically that area was the result, or into the 150 area. Now we will see how that plays out. So that might be yeah, like the last dip we see. So we need to narrow that down further, and for that we're basically just gonna try to jump from here directly, so drill down the same feature on the 5-minute chart, and might get too confusing in terms of how to arrange it. I'm gonna move the camera up here and I'm gonna change the layout. So we have the 5-minute chart at the bottom, and there the labeling is kind of useless. Yeah. And if I delete it, it deletes it everywhere. Okay, then delete it manually. Delete all waves forward. And also need to delete those points. Pattern and pattern. So basically we would have our starting point here, and would now assume that our wave 2 is like the, I don't know, longest corrective pattern that I could have ever imagined. I honestly don't even know how I would label that corrective pattern, like, because it's not just, I mean, it starts with, actually I would know, so it would meet, I mean, I probably will not be able to label it precisely, which brings us then to something else that I wanted to show, but we have for, was it for flats or for triangles, or not triangles? That's a wave 2, so it can not be a triangle. So, but for flats, I think, or for, what were those stupid patterns called? Yeah, I can't find the page, but basically it's either a flat followed by, or either a zigzag followed by a flat, or it's a flat followed by a zigzag. There is somewhere in this magical book on page 65 it explains, what are we talking about, diagonals. Yeah, and which basically would mean that in this case, wrong pattern, but this here would be A, B, C, and then this here would be a flat correction, yeah, like, which trends more or less sideways, but also then reaches a low that I probably am unable to label properly because it's like so taking up so many candles. Yeah, but yeah, what else do we have? Yeah, so Super Stonk is the new subreddit, 68,000 members. In the morning it was 35,000 members, so you can already, so like 6 hours ago or so. Real transparency in the stock market is identifying short sales by a distinct color and totaling then at the end of each trading day. That's flushed the criminal short sales out of hiding. Yeah, but how do you identify short sales? Like, I mean, I don't know if there's a way. The way I see it, it just shows up as somebody selling a share. You don't necessarily also have a correlating real-time entry of somebody borrowing a share. And then what would you do with the naked shorting? That, like, I think at some point, Mario's there, cool. At some point, the stock market will need to use some kind of blockchain, so a public ledger that keeps track of every share. And I propose we call it stock chain. Yeah, and that would actually be the point where you would have transparency, which I don't know, might not be possible, because if you have a limited supply of coins, you cannot just randomly create short positions and basically create another coin. But some kind of blockchain, so a public ledger of which share is owned by which unique account ID, and when they sell and so on, that would actually be probably the solution. IC2 is a zigzag, basically zigzag, triangle, zigzag, yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know how long you're already there, Mario. I mentioned earlier when I shared that I think Palantir is a nice example for how Elliott waves should be. And there I pointed out that while I was, yeah, it doesn't scroll properly. Yeah. Reluctant to accept your labeling of the end of a wave, not at the lowest point, I actually looked into it again, and it's definitely acceptable and makes much more sense in some cases. So yeah, so I definitely agree with you by now. Thanks for sharing that opinion enough times that I was forced to look into it further. That basically this could be our wave 2. I mean, it could end already here, but we will see in a few more candles, or once we have our turnaround, where it actually ends. Yeah, but it will give us basically the last low. It's really the last low I can think of. Won't change any of our bigger predictions though. Yeah. Do you have, Mario? Do you have all of that? Yeah, I also, I basically said the same, that I think in Palantir it's actually, in my opinion, right now almost perfect entry, and wave 3 should go to, in my opinion, to 128 or even 147. Now we might see a little drop still in Palantir because the fifth wave of the pattern going down is not perfect, but overall I think that we are like looking upwards now, and yeah, so that's why I also bought more Palantir today. But yeah, so basically I said I learned something from you there, and it makes sense. And yeah, it's like jumping the gun. Like, this pattern could easily be like 1, 2, and then maybe it's my bias that I can't wait for it to go up. Yeah. But overall, I looked at it on Friday or Saturday, but there I didn't stream. And then yesterday in the stream, when I reviewed my portfolio, I actually mentioned that I came up with a different kind of labeling, where it would indicate that we might see a drop either to 175 or in the 150 area. And that so either our previous labeling was correct and we go up, or alternative 2 is that we will see that area. Yeah, obviously I didn't say I'm 100% certain that we were wrong on Friday or on Thursday and this is the absolute truth, but I think it still counts in some way that, yeah, like looking at the chart again, labeling it differently, pretty much following your labeling to some extent, and considering the wave 2 not finished, yeah, to come up with that. Yeah. Now 153 might hit it. Unfortunately, the thing that happens on the weekends with wave basis is that the 5-minute data is not available, and unfortunately it basically at some point said no data available for the way I had it labeled, and yeah, was forced to reload and my work was gone. Yeah, I also looked into an alternative software. I'm gonna quickly start that one. Might have to log in again there. Yeah, and find my license key for it. It's called Motive Wave. It looks horrible. Welcome. There's my license key. Great. However, it has nice features. MacBook Pro. So the problem with that software is that we need, where do we have that now? I hope I still have access, because I already told them that I don't need it anymore, but oops. bar chart should be that. Does it contain my username? There it contains the username, yes. And password should be this one. So basically Wavebasis is an all-in-one solution where you have your entire, you have all the assets, you have the data sources, which is an important aspect, and it looks modern. It follows basically TradingView. You have all the tools you need. However, I checked out MotiveWave, which would cost $180 per month, just the software without the data sources. So you would additionally need to have pay, for example, for a bar chart, which is a separate service, which just for the US stocks costs you another $60 per month, not considering indices and other assets you might want to invest in. And but it has some interesting features. It definitely looks horrible compared to Wavebasis in my opinion. But I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. So now we have GME here. Let's say we're going to go to the hourly chart here. I think one problem I had is that I don't get 5-minute chart. Okay, now I get it. But during the weekend it was also not possible. But yeah, let's jump to hourly. An interesting aspect is, for example, let's say we can right click here, we can say tools, no, not tools, add study, and then there is somewhere, I think it was add study, let's see. Somewhere there should be Elliott waves hidden, not Elliott, and there should be Elliott wave auto labeling as well. But yeah, it's like there's so much in there that it becomes like horrible to find what you're looking for. Okay, there it's not. Tools, regression, let's say window, there should be a components window somewhere. No. Workspaces, instrument, save configuration. We don't need that. We can go to all studies, and so you basically see that the software, nope, auto, no, there's auto trend line. Did I download the wrong version this time? Study. Help about edition community. No, I think I got the wrong version this time, so I might have to reinstall that stupid app. But it shouldn't matter now, should it? Let's check. Is it the same download here? What was it called? MotiveWave. Now the reason I'm trying to get this set up again, because what MotiveWave has, Wavebasis doesn't. No, it's definitely the right version, so I'm just not finding the thing in the menu, is when we add Elliott waves, which are somewhere hidden. Where was that? Trade, study, all studies, study. No, it was not the Elliott. There's an auto wave feature. So I also saw that, that we saw the Elliott wave oscillator here. But there's an auto wave feature, and there is the regular, which would be same like the auto count in Wavebasis, and there is somewhere is the regular manually add stuff to your chart thing, yeah, which obviously template, link, add study, tools. I could swear that it was here in the tools section. Interesting. No results found. Yeah, like did I? But it's the same. I used the same. Actually, that doesn't make sense here because it says here that I have the community edition when my trial is actually for the ultimate edition. Yeah, so can we check the license somewhere? But the point is, the bigger point is that this software here, when we label the chart, first of all, it has auto labeling. It looks horrible though, so it's not as colorful and easy to read like on Wavebases. But second of all, when you manually label the chart, it has rule validation. So the moment you label something that violates a rule, it highlights it for you. And third of all, in Wavebases, we can only say impulse wave, but we cannot manually label a leading or ending diagonal, and we can only say corrective, but we cannot label triangle. So in terms of that, it considers the rules and requirements of a triangle, or triangle we can, but I don't know, flat, for example, which is also labeled ABC, but obviously follows different rules. And in motive wave, we actually have those requirements. Now, I bought some Palantir here, yep, and oh, forgot, I quickly need to go into my other portfolio because I also wanted to close my Afria positions, so they are gonna be shut now. Close, and I wanted to increase Palantir, which I did, and set the profit target at 147 right now. Done. And yeah, like that's okay. So close that one, did that one, did that one, did that one. Okay, so I did all of that. Just need to set the profit target here as well. 147. So, oop, and back we go. So like where we're here. Yeah. So the problem is I'm gonna try to restart this and see if we can get the right version to load, because it should be the ultimate edition. Yeah. Motive wave. And yeah, I think we're gonna get rid of the overview here, and so like of the hourly and daily chart, so we can actually focus on the smaller chart like we usually do. And yeah, so while we may be jumping the gun again, but considering that we already have a recovery here, I'd say it's a fair bet to say we are already on our way back up. Now, how would you, Mario, how would you label, so you mentioned you have a zigzag followed by a triangle followed by another zigzag. Where's your second zigzag that it adds up? Because that first one is literally perfect in terms of how a zigzag should be. I mean, it falls a little short, but other than that, but yeah, I'm honestly unable to spot a second zigzag pattern in here that then has point C down there. I just signed up for Elliott Finviz. Wait, missed a few things, yeah, so okay, we have 3.1 million volume, we have a spike, we're seeing that in real time. That's nice green stick, yes, thank God my broker let me do pre-market buys. That's cool, that's really cool. Who's your broker? Yeah, Daniel. Morning, hope you had a good weekend. Yes, a little busy, but also got some rest, so kind of great. Yeah, we had that with the oscillator. All my homies know that apes like dip. Yeah, of course. Elliott Wave.com uses motive wave apparently. However, I don't consider it so expensive. The software is $196, and you need the data source, which with bar chart would be $96 per month. So you're looking at slightly more than $200 per month. However, if your portfolio is, let's check license, update. If your portfolio is, like small, if you're trading with a few dollars, yeah, like then obviously spending $200 is not an option. But if you're trading already with $100,000, then basically it means that at 2%, and you pay $2,000 per year for motive wave plus bar chart, then it's kind of like, okay, plus motive wave integrates for US users, it might be more interesting than for me, yeah. But they integrate with, for example, where was it? For crypto with Binance, which I could also use, but for stocks in Switzerland with Mindtrade, which might be an option there, and in the US with TD Ameritrade, yeah. And obviously, so if you have an account there, you basically only end up paying for motive wave and not for the data sources, the way I see it, yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm trying to sign up here, but it might not be possible as foreigner. And with all the others that provide stock data, it's also not possible. So I'm kind of bound by taking bar chart as a source. And as you can see here, it doesn't go to the right side, but so as you can see here, basically it starts at $60 per month, for which you can simultaneously monitor 200 symbols, yeah, which is something I likely would never do. So it's not that you can 200 symbols total or something, but basically in motive wave you can also, like monitor more or less. So if you have something in your watch list or as an alert or so, it kind of like counts as an open symbol. So that's more than enough. And yeah, but the moment you would want to add some, I don't know, indices or other stuff, like it just keeps going up in price. So I'm not sure even if we could get European stock data from there as well. Yeah, so but I don't consider it too expensive. I'm just wondering if I either should upgrade from the $50 wave basis plan and basically to unlock more charts that I can have open, so more tabs and more charts, plus get the alternative wave count option, which would be useful, or if I should just switch from wave basis and jump onto motive wave, and it's like really tough decision. And let's see now if it's now loading with the right edition, or if maybe I also made the mistake because I tested it on the weekend, because I wasn't fully happy. One of the downsides that I noticed was, okay, yeah, like apparently bar chart. Oh, okay, like check that. Might have received my email that I want them to disable it, because you can basically try it a little bit for free, but I didn't find detailed info. But yeah, now my bar chart access seems to be revoked, so would need to sign up again. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna do that during the stream, yeah. So, but the thing is, one of the issues that I had during my weekend test is that with bar chart, the historical data only went back till 2008, so I cannot label or try to label the chart since the IPO. And I'm not sure yet. I might need to play around a little bit more if you can always only have one source of information active, or if you could add multiple. For example, you can also add Google and Yahoo Finance as a source, which would only be used for historical data, but I'm not sure if they're complementing each other, that basically it would use the data from bar chart or from the broker, and then for the missing history use Google Finance or so. But what I mostly dislike is like this, or what I'm surprised about is why does every really great trading software look like this? Like, why does it have to look like it's from, I don't know, 1995? Or even worse, if you look at Bloomberg Terminal, probably one of the most expensive solutions out there to provide you with data, and it just looks like, I don't know what. Yeah, why do they not drop some money on UX designer to improve the user experience? And that's one of the issues that I mentioned, like when you have multiple waves, there's no color coding for different waves. So while you still are able to figure out what it means, it's like, it could be so much better. Yeah. But yeah, overall, unfortunately no access right now anymore, and it didn't load the right version, so I cannot show you in reality. But the biggest feature that I would like about Motive Wave is literally when you label something and you put a, I don't know, I would put point number 2 up here, yeah, like up here, it would get a red exclamation mark and say, sorry, or rule violation, point 2 exceeds point 1, yeah. Now today all technology is working great. We see, seriously? Okay, let's try to refresh that. And blah, blah, blah. Oh, look, we're back up to 178. And why is Palantir going up? Because I bought, no, I don't know why, but I mentioned it in yesterday's review a little bit more, and today also briefly showed it, because it looks like this is basically 1, 2, and we're going up from here. Technically, there could still be a drop, but it becomes, in my opinion, more unlikely. And we can even, if we do this here, 0.2 or not that 0.2, but 0.0 with 0.2 and parallel to 1, it really adds up very nicely. Yeah. So that's why I think it's going up. Yeah. So Palantir have a. I'm with TD in Canada. Didn't even know it was an option until this morning. Oh yeah, cool. Which means you could jump on the Motive Wave 14-day trial and see if you can add TD as your source, that would be, honestly, that would be my dream, to either have a broker integration in, yeah, obviously all the labeling disappears. Gotta love all that sometimes. Seriously, yeah, but to either have a broker integration here or to have one at TradingView, or now looking at Motive Wave, although I don't like the user interface or experience the software has, I like the features. So having a broker where I could directly open positions and close them from Motive Wave would be my dream, yeah. So I would definitely, if you anyway have an account at TD, check Motive Wave, download the trial, yeah, link it to your broker as data source, and then you might have the superior Elliott Wave tool at your disposal for 2 weeks. And after that, judge if you want to drop the money for the 169 or so per month. Now today, Wavebasis really likes me, yeah. And let's see. Are you shitting me? Yeah, it doesn't let me zoom out anymore. Like, let's close that and open a new chart. And GME. Yeah, Mario says, I think it will move in that area and finish the pattern. So the pattern would be the zigzag, triangle, zigzag, so the longer correction. Now it seems to work again. Nice, yeah. So Mario's area or point of return for this would be at 153, indicating that there's still a drop to come. Now, I didn't get it, I asked, but I'm not sure if you answered in the chat. So because I'm seriously, like, like I mentioned, we have a nice zigzag pattern here in the beginning. Now all of that is likely that weird triangle or so. And where do you see the second zigzag? So like, and since you mentioned it's not finished yet, do you think it's going to be something like this, which would point in the 150 area? Or is your starting point one somewhere different? Like, I don't know, like, I don't think it makes sense like this, because then I mean, not that it's not possible, but then we would expect that that movement down here also is dragged out for almost an entire day. I'd rather have it like this, so it's kind of like we see that drop in, I don't know, like a few hours and then go up from there. So interesting to see that. Nuclear, army, e-commerce, online payment. People who buy last week are happy. What price did we have last week? Oh yeah, we ended here. Yeah, I mean, of course, if you bought here, people are going to be like, oh my God, it dropped. What am I gonna do? Like always, but yeah. Could you do a wave analysis on UPST? I'd like to know if a correction is coming. I'm gonna check if I can invest in that. If I can invest in that, we can take a UPST. It's probably, yeah. Sorry, not listed on eToro, so not gonna look too much into it. I mean, we can check real quick, but I'm not gonna. Upstart Holdings, yeah, so. Oh, they just had their IPO, or is there no historical data loading? Yeah, that's tricky. Then there is likely not enough data yet to. Often, like we see, for example, in GME, or I'm gonna open it here so that I don't have to, and switch here to monthly. When we look at GME, for example, you notice there in the beginning that it first went slightly up and then dropped. Yeah, and if we look at, I don't know, let's pick another one, Microsoft. Do we have enough? It went up slightly, it dropped. Yeah, and if we pick, I don't know, like pretty much most companies, I mean, Apple, yeah, initial drop. Yeah, and I don't know, American Express, slightly up, drop. And the theory behind that is that a company goes public when they are doing great and are in an overall super excited and super bullish mindset, which would indicate that the area where they go public would technically represent wave number 5, which would then be followed by a drop. Yeah? And so I'd wait here, to be honest, like, because it's hard to say the upside here since there's almost no history, and could be that that was the drop already, yeah, but I would not really want to jump into that right now because I wouldn't be surprised. There are stocks where you don't have that drop. Tesla would be one example, if I'm not mistaken, where it's really like Tesla, if we look, oh no, we still have the drop. So it goes up, IPO, and then drop. Yeah, but there are a few where it's like more visible, like GameStop, where it went like here and then dropped further. And then there are stocks where it's not that visible, like here, up and drop. Yeah, but I wouldn't jump into that right now, or if at all, only with a small amount, with a small position, kind of like a little bit speculating. Either it goes up from here, and I know that sounds kind of yeah, so either it goes up or it goes down, but either this is already the drop that often follows, and it goes up from here, and you would then start labeling here, from here, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. Or we have yet to see that initial drop, and which basically would mean that, yeah, like you cannot really start from, or yeah, like that you would then have to wait for that to recover. Although the price is quite high compared to the initial offer, so that drop would be very, very radical. Yeah, it could be that was that initial drop. Yeah, it could be, but I don't know, I would not feel comfortable investing because it's really hard to say. It's really, really hard to say. And only once there's a little bit, I don't know, in a couple months from now, there should be more data to make it clear if wave 1 starts here, or if that is still part of the area where we have trouble finding the real wave 1, yeah. And yeah, so back to GME. Yeah, there we have GME. And up, yeah. Just gonna send my wife cooking, that usually works. Shouldn't have said that, yeah. Uh, Trading software need to be efficient and fast. It's code in C++ or Java, yeah. Yeah, sure, they need to be efficient and fast, but there's no excuse for them being like totally crappy in terms of user experience, because it doesn't really help you when the software itself works fast, but it takes you forever to find the right features that you want to apply to the chart, or read the labeling on the chart, because it doesn't even support, like, I don't know, color coding, like for example wave basis does here, yeah. And 9 million contract done for PLTR, 90 million contract done for PLTR, so for Palantir. Cool. Ah, okay, that's why up there we had nuclear army e-commerce online payment. Oh yeah, so very compact. Yeah, so today announced it had been selected by National Nuclear Security Administration to provide its Office of Safety, Infrastructure and Operations with. Yeah, yeah. I thought the blue arrow was like more about Palantir going up. Yeah, like clearly need to pay more attention. But yeah, that's good news. Yeah. However, it's then like it's funny in quotes. Yeah, how that news aligns with the labeling that now disappeared thanks to reloading the page, which indicated that here will be, or this area here will be where we start our wave 3. Obviously, as mentioned, I still think it's possible that we see a drop a little bit, even down till I think 17 was the highlighted area for that. But overall, yeah, I think I agree with Mario here that we are now looking at wave 3 and it will go up here. We'll see what the future holds. Now, yeah, we can also add the volume here for a change. No, not. So we see what's going on here. And what else do we have? Wavebase is getting overrun from too many GME holders finding your stream and trying it out. No, I don't think so. Like, especially because everything you do while Wavebase is in your browser obviously gets the data. So like candle up, candle down from the Wavebase's servers, but everything you do in the browser, so scrolling and all of that, happens on your computer. So if there are some issues, it's likely a browser issue on your end. Yeah, I don't know why it behaved like that before, but yeah, maybe, I don't know how to say. A sub to super stonk 8 hours ago and was 16,000, now 78. Also obviously barely moved from that sell-off in pre-market. GME is definitely problematic. Do you mean the stock or the subreddit? And Mario is still waiting. Like, do you think that here will be the zigzag pattern? So it's for on your labeling that zigzag one, that triangle pattern, and then here your zigzag, or do you have your zigzag bigger? So your starting point somewhere early. Not my browser. So you mean the stock GameStop in Wavebases is problematic. Do I get that right? Hope everyone is doing well. Hi Nuns with Guns, long time no see. I hope you had a great weekend. Huh? Why? What? Because I said you should go cooking. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah. Yeah. So happy wife, happy life. Never forget that. That's the one lesson you can definitely take away. And yeah, so I don't know, maybe Wavebases has some general issue right now. I don't know how many people signed up for a trial, but I would expect them to handle it. And again, like whatever you do in the browser should actually happen on your computer and not require any work from Wavebases servers. So. But yeah, today it behaves a little strange overall. And will we have more movement? It seems like we have volume here for the first half hour, and since then it dropped. It was busy and good, did start the wave theory book online, but it may take another reread of chapter 1 to derived the ideas from. Yeah, I also reread parts of it and read parts I skipped previously and so on. One cool thing that I ignored before, I'm not sure at which, I think here I could show it perfectly. Unfortunately, Wavebasis doesn't have the right tool, but if we go to GameStop, and I think it was even on the 5-minute chart, so there's the assumption or the golden rule which uses Fibonacci, and the way it would work is, if I find the right, I actually have it here, so I need to find the right dip. I think it was the, where do we have the earnings dip? No. Here, yeah, so, and I think then it was on hourly because I did it on a smaller time frame, yeah. The assumption is that when you basically have a wave, so for example wave 1, like this, and you have this Fibonacci spiral, whatever it's called, that it then supposedly the next line also touches the end of the wave of a bigger degree, yeah. And we definitely could if we wanted to, although we have it labeled slightly different and auto labeling has it as well slightly different. But technically we probably could come up on a lower time frame with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where 5 ends up here, yeah. So, so there are a few mind-boggling things in the book that, yeah, like, I'm still trying to apply to enough scenarios to see if it's kind of like a rule and applies very often, or if it's just some, it might apply and help you, or it might not. But yeah, so I've reread up to chapter 2 like 10 times now, and I'm still taking notes, but to be fair, I suck at math, so. Oh, we talked about the subreddit drama before. I think it's like mostly kindergarten. I'm not even sure where it started fully. I know there's some drama about Rensol asked to resign as a moderator, and then there was the drama about Warden and his donation links in the posts and so on. And overall, I think it's just childish and irrelevant. Yeah, like from whichever party. Like I'm grateful for Rensol, Hates Me Pixel, and Warden to provide all the content that they do, yeah. So I'm more on their side in that whole aspect because they actually provide value to the community, while some moderator that just says post deleted or user banned doesn't really. I mean, sure, moderation is required and also ensures that their value is in the community because they get rid of the spam or I don't know, yeah. But overall, I'm more on the side of all the people that moved to the new super stonk Reddit, and less on the side of the moderators that just, I don't know, it seems like they're on a power trip. I think they take some things too seriously, yeah. Yeah, so Sivuden says, I hope I pronounce it right, yeah, but also says old mods went on a power trip just like Wall Street Bets. I think in Wall Street Bets it was different because there apparently the founder of Wall Street Bets showed up and suddenly tried to get a movie deal or even got a movie deal, although he has nothing to do with the whole thing anymore. And again, I'm trying to scroll from one computer to the other with my cursor. Yeah. And then there was, yeah, like some kind of like, yeah, other people trying to monetize and profit off the whole thing in Wall Street Bets, and yeah. Cool. I got it right first time. Imgur.com/ oops, one too many. So Mario shares food for thought. yeah, then C would need to be lower, yeah. Wave A times 2. I'm still not sure if that works out 100%, but basically, wait, what? But then your overall labeling is simply different. So instead of having like, or you didn't resolve it to the subwaves, so your overall labeling would be wave, yeah, roughly almost, come on, go over there, yeah, wave A, and then your point B is likely here. If I got it right from that, no, actually you put it even further, and your point C would be down here, yeah, I think. Interestingly enough, so we end up in the 150 area, and if we have it here like we had it before, so, and assume that from here till here it's another corrective pattern that I'm unable to identify, then we end pretty much in the same area. So both would indicate that we are about to still see a drop, yeah. It's tricky, and however, yeah, how could that be labeled otherwise? Like, I mean, especially since that point is not lower, so it cannot even be A, B, C, so we still would need some drop here, yeah. Did you see that the current GME team was flaring users with stuff like lives under a bridge? Really didn't notice that. I checked this up on, I think on Friday, and noticed, I think on Friday there was the post from some guy saying that Warden is a grifter for placing his donation links, yeah, blah, 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 and so on, yeah. And then I pretty much wasn't on Reddit the entire weekend. When I came up with my alternative labeling, which would indicate a drop, I thought about if I should post it, but I really figured like, no, I'm not gonna sit down for half an hour to write that stupid post. I wanna enjoy a little bit of the weekend. And then, yeah, wave base is reset because of the missing 5-minute data, and my labeling was gone. And then I pretty much just checked the Reddits today and checked Twitter a little bit and noticed that there is some drama, and yeah, like, doesn't even matter who, I mean, honestly, it doesn't even matter who's right. Like, the real important thing is, in my opinion, that the people that provide due diligence reports of any kind, they may not be, they're obviously all just opinions, just like what I'm sharing is just my opinion, but some people like the way Warden does his analysis and provides his real-time charting, and are reassured by having someone that is not panicking and is able to explain, okay, this drop now happens because of that, and we're likely going to see the upside and so on, yeah. So, or people that like Elliott wave theory more and like see me struggle with corrective patterns and so on, and see that I don't panic sell. Like, I know some of you have way bigger positions that I have. For those, it's anyway not that relevant, because if you invest that much money, then you likely are anyway convinced. But probably some of the people watching here have smaller positions that I have, and then seeing that somebody that invested more is calmly watching the dips and not smashing the sell button might reassure you. So overall it's like, yeah, there needs to be some moderation. So, and I shared before my opinion about asking for donations in general when you have a monetized YouTube channel, that I'm not a fan of it, but it's every person's right. However, has nothing to do in a subreddit, in my opinion. So, but then it needs to be considered. Yes, rules need to be enforced and everybody should be treated equally, but there needs to be a little leeway. And there's, in my opinion, a difference if some, I don't know, random user that never provided anything valuable to the community would then create one post and say, please donate, or here's my donation link, or however it's phrased. versus a user that already provided like countless posts over countless days, if that person then includes a donation link. So the first user would probably get a stronger warning or already a temporary ban in my opinion, and the second user would probably get away with a warning that's not as, you know, like if you do this again, I'm gonna be kicked out forever or something, because simply he contributes more. It's like not that people are treated unequally, but it needs to be put into perspective, in my opinion. Well said. Everyone is adding something to the situation. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like I think, I mean, if you have posts like, I don't know, if I would just create a post like, doesn't matter on which subreddit, but if I would create a post that is literally just, I'm live now, if you want to watch me label Elliott wave charts, and then my YouTube channel is monetized on top of that, then I would also look at that critically, because there is kind of like a conflict of interest. Like on one hand, the subreddit has an interest to provide users with information. On the other hand, I would have an interest to get more viewers to make more money from YouTube, And so there I would like kind of like probably also draw a line. I think, in my opinion, if you write a post and you provide whatever you think or your prediction or opinion is about the stock in the post, and then you point out that, I don't know, like for example, consider how often we had to relabel certain parts. Try to explain that in a post. Like you need 100 screenshots, nobody's able to follow anything. Whereas in a live stream, I say, okay, it is like this, and you guys say, which point do you mean in the chat, and I can clarify it, or maybe I had a label wrong or something. And so I think there is also, as long as the post on Reddit contains enough information and the core idea that you want to share, I think there's nothing wrong with pointing to your YouTube channel and saying, by the way, I'm going live there, if the channel is monetized or not. And if you then ask for donations on that YouTube channel, it also is completely fair, because it's a different medium. It's kind of like, I don't know, you get the free trial on Reddit with already enough information to satisfy your curiosity. And if you want to join the stream, then that's the streamer's territory, and here the streamer makes the rules and decides what he thinks is okay and what he thinks is not okay. We also had Spy is going brr. That's nice to hear. Actually, I want to check. So a lot of things look green today. And what's red here? Tesla is also green. So I actually thought it would drop further. Still expected to drop last time I checked. So curious how that will work out. And GME is still in the red, but barely. I mean, considering the swings we're used to see, it's not even noteworthy. So a lot of things green today. And Palantir leading currently. What else do we have? So Afria is what I sold today. Might turn out wrong, but it's what I could come up with. And Boxel is something that's currently red that I consider also buying more, but I will need to take a closer look. And having people to discuss ideas with, it was help. Yes, and especially like we had it multiple times. Mario is one of the people that constantly does his own labeling as well and comes up with alternative ideas. And it's like, I don't know, it forces, I mean, on this YouTube channel, I could be, oh my God, there's somebody that disagrees with my opinion. I'm gonna just mute that person so I seem like, or I can appear like the all-knowing dude that then comes up with some random excuse why something didn't pan out or did pan out, But obviously having more people here that share information, like the details earlier about why Palantir is going up, like the news events surrounding it and so on, that I didn't bother to look up today, but somebody else already knows it and shares it in the chat, and other people learn as well. So it's like it's in everybody's interest, And so I don't know, like, but it happens in so many, like in not only on Reddit, but in so many ways. At the end of the day, in my opinion, everybody is greedy to some extent. It's like I'm quite straightforward. I'm like sharing, okay, this channel will get monetized. I'm sharing that thanks to all of you that followed from my Reddit posts to decide to watch the lives. I actually achieved that goal, and I'm currently waiting for YouTube to confirm that partner status. And so it's like the same, like everybody wants to be at its core. It's like everybody wants to be the best, and nobody likes to be like proven wrong and inadequate in some way. And the same applies probably to moderators on Reddit. Nobody likes to be criticized. While I appreciate Mario's labeling that in the past disagreed with mine to some extent, yeah, I'm also obviously, I don't know what the right word is. Don't get this wrong, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to say slightly pissed, because it obviously criticizes my judgment of the chart, yeah. And nobody likes that, yeah. But I'm like, I don't know, conditioned enough or grown up enough to put that petty behavior aside and appreciate that Mario is doing the work and is willing to share, and is not like, I don't know, like he, that guy labels it wrong, that idiot, but I know it will be likely like this, yeah. Also takes a lot of, I don't know, courage from him to actually on a stream share, I think you're wrong, here's how I think it should be, yeah. And yeah, but so overall I can understand that the emotions that lead to all that drama, but they shouldn't be there in the first place. It's some people that enjoy having power, just like of, I don't know, cops, for example, that may not have anything to say at home, but then abuse their power in their job, yeah, and similar things. And I think it's the same here. It might be some teenagers or even older people, doesn't really matter. So grown-ups that somehow feel powerful in that one area, so on this Reddit. And then maybe jealousy is a huge factor. Never forget that. Jealousy is really, really a huge factor in many things. That's the whole principle that runs Instagram, for example. It's literally people being showing off their highlight reel, the best moments in their life, and other people looking at it and being jealous that they don't have those nice vacations and whatever, yeah. And same might apply here. There might be some moderator that's feels it's unjust that a guy like Warden shows up out of nowhere, writes a couple of posts, and then suddenly has, I don't know, 13,000 subscribers and $6,000-7,000 in donations or so. And so a lot of things. Based on Elliott waves, price should go up hard. If there will be no mores, wouldn't it contradict Elliott wave theory? Does this theory stands for the last? What is your opinion? Yeah. My opinion is that, and that's what we've been running into for days, the whole last week already. It's like frustrating, honestly, that Elliott wave theory provides us with enough flexibility that at any point in time, we are likely able to label multiple patterns that are accurate, yeah? And only if we look very close and ensure that each of those patterns, that's one of the reasons why I consider, should I upgrade here or should I switch to Motive Wave and pay more for software that looks like Windows 95. Because if I upgrade here, we could have alternative labeling. So we could label one pattern, check if it follows all the rules, and then label a different pattern that might also follow all the rules. And based on that, we would get the pattern that is like our primary labeling, so the one that follows all the rules, plus also follows most of the guidelines, and our secondary labeling, the one that follows all the rules and the second most amount of guidelines. And so as the chart develops, we would basically then see which one actually will be the one that applies. So I'm quite confident that even if there would be no squeeze, that in the end we will be able to label it, or so with the squeeze, without the squeeze, I'm confident that we will be able to label it with Elliott wave theory following all the rules. Yeah, the only thing would be time constraints might be an issue, so that basically how long it took, how many candles. So in terms of the price levels, I'm confident. In terms of the time constraints, I'm not so sure it will work out 100%. Yeah, we will see that. But I'm confident that the labels will, or the rules will be applied, and that any yeah, we will exceed a few price targets, definitely. So we will look at a 5-wave pattern where we have the third and the fifth wave extended likely, or the third wave will be extended, and that would then, not of this wave, but of the bigger waves. And that would be the squeeze. And then the fifth wave falls a little bit short, which would be okay and happens in some cases of extended third waves and so on. So confirmed, Mario is a cop, everyone run. Yeah, love your alternative theories. I also love them. It's like really a great help to figure out and to provide perspective and to not focus too much and be like, it has to happen like this, and then be, oh my God, why did it not? Yeah, and it also is again a reminder that trying to day trade based on Elliott wave theory on the 5-minute chart, while it worked out last week for one of the guys that was following and was able to, I think, I don't know, like get 20% more shares by selling, buying again, and so on. It can also backfire a lot. Yeah, so that's why we don't do that. Can you find a pattern in GameStop that would predict the smallest no increase in price? I'm not sure what you mean by no increase in price. You mean like where we are going, or? That's like so if you can clarify that, then I can answer that. Yeah. I'm also gonna open up a monthly chart here. Like I think one thing that's really controversial still is like my monthly chart labeling, yeah, because we have 2 rule violations there. But that would actually be, since the 5-minute chart is currently almost dead, yeah. So we have, I mean, now we had a candle, it goes up a little bit further, but that would actually be something worth figuring out. Worst case scenario. Oh, the worst case scenario, I can show you the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that our labeling is wrong, and I'm gonna switch here to the hourly chart. I think on the hourly chart we should be able to see it very beautiful. Yeah. So the worst case scenario is that whatever our monthly labeling and everything till here is wrong, and somehow this here is wave 5, yeah, and the start of, or I don't know, maybe this is wave 5 and there's a correct, no, then it would correct down. Anyway, so the worst case scenario is that this is a trend channel that we're now following. Yeah, so maybe like this, maybe like this. So our worst case scenario is that we are actually looking, that we are totally blind and missing something in our labeling, that there will be no squeeze, shorts have already covered, and that the reality of the whole thing will look like this. Yeah, so we will go from here to here, and are actually now going down here. Yeah, that would be the really worst case scenario in terms of labeling, that somehow we mislabeled everything to this point. Yeah, which would indicate, yeah, like I consider it like with a less than 1% chance likelihood that this is the case. But technically, if we start labeling from this point, ignore everything that is before because we might have gotten it wrong, then this would be not perfect, we see, but close to perfect, the retracement up here, and our next area for wave, wrong, yeah, I cannot highlight that again properly. Oh yeah, I can. So our next profit target here would be, I don't even know where, likely somewhere up. Yeah, doesn't show it, but it will be very low. Yeah. George, you sent the chart image. Yeah, I didn't see that. My mistake. I was like, no link. Okay, copy, and I'm gonna keep that. App wave basis. Oops, misses a slash. That's from GameStop 5-minute. That actually adds up nicely. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Like that really adds up nicely. So we have wave 1, we have an endless wave 2 correction, which would then indicate that channel might not, that would be our base channel. So we would be waiting for the breakout here, which would then create our acceleration channel. And basically, yeah, you also labeled that corrective pattern. I don't even know how you would call that corrective pattern, honestly. Like that's just shows still so much to learn, yeah, but that definitely adds up. So, But it would need to be put into perspective, yeah. So like, and the monthly chart, that's why I shared Palantir earlier today, because there, if we really want to, not like this, but almost, actually would be 0.1 would be here, or 0.2 would be here. Now go there, and you see perfectly. So that might be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 goes till here, 5, and it's like literally on the trend line perfectly. Yeah? And so for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that goes up here, it's like 0.3 and 5, and then ABC corrective pattern, which also would check out. So, and we would need to do the same for GameStop, but there we just run into the point where it's like super tricky on the monthly chart. Monthly, because no matter how we would label it, we run into rule violations, yeah. And the one sentence, I'm gonna try to see if I can find it in the book real quick. Oops, wrong computer. There we go. So that it's not just me saying it, but that I actually, I'm gonna try to see if I can find that sentence in the book, and then you guys can tell me your interpretation, yeah. And let's see, it was in, nope. There is it's in the first chapter as far as I recall, and it should be somewhere close to where it's explaining that you have the different wave degrees. And there is a sentence that explains that therefore, by definition, the chart or the asset, or however it's called in that part, is always in an impulse wave. So if we have a 1, 2, 3, so let's say we are only back in 2007, and we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished, and then we have the ABC develop. Let's say that is an ABC, yeah. Then we wouldn't be in a corrective wave 2. But we could actually say, or we wouldn't be in a corrective wave B, but we could actually say it's 1, 2, and we are in wave 2 of an impulse wave. And the moment we have our first big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished, it automatically becomes wave 1 of a bigger degree. So, but I'm gonna see if I can find that, so that maybe somebody has another interpretation of the words. Because that's really a crucial aspect to how we label all that happened since 2003. If I find the right chapter in the book. I'm already too far, not like, I'm already way too far. Again, there we go, chapter 1. One complete cycle, blah, blah. One part we would have would be here where it explains the patterns and says like when an initial 8-wave cycle, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, yeah, as shown actually here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, ends, a similar cycle ensues, which is then followed by another 5-wave movement. Doesn't matter what that means. Specifically here, this entire development produces a 5-wave pattern of 1 degree, larger than the waves of which it is composed. So once we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is wave 1, ABC 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, ABC 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it automatically becomes a wave of a higher degree. Yeah. Now, taking a while to read Elliott wave theory book. Maybe I'm slow. No, it takes a while. There's like, I also have to reread things over and over again. And then I think the actual applying to the chart and seeing that you were right helps you more. But yeah, it isn't so straightforward, so don't worry about speed. Yeah, I read that yesterday. I think it's chapter 2, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I need to share a link for the best book I found. How can I do that here? I would say best way would be you go to bit.li and shorten the link. So create a short link, and it will be something like bit.li, whatever, like some random stuff. Yeah, so slash some random stuff. And then just share the random stuff in the chat, and I will then share the link. So I will then take that random stuff and share it with the bit.li. So yeah, sorry that it still not works with the, yeah. Yeah, or you can do it like Nuns with Gunset. So basically just replace parts of it or use spaces in the URL. So if you use a bit.li link, you could likely write bit space .li space slash something random and share it like this, and then people can copy it and would just have to remove the spaces. Or if you do that, I will just copy it and then share the actual link again so people can click on it. Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, and Visual also says, I think it means that the largest degree of the charge should be an impulse wave. I also infer that to mean after you complete an impulse, you have to redraw the main impulse as the correction starts. Yeah, like you don't have to redraw it, but once you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it automatically, you could automatically draw wave 1. So through that, you would draw wave 1, yeah, because it's, you have your completed impulse, which becomes wave 1 of the next or of the impulse of a bigger degree. And that's a crucial point. I think it was mentioned somewhere else in the book as well, phrased differently, where it literally said, so we can conclude or something like that, that the market is always in an impulse. And if we assume that, our problem is our starting point has to be here. If our starting point were here, we already would have a rule violation. So we could then say 0, yeah, 1. But then wave 2 would be this and would go beyond point 0 and would be a rule violation. Yeah? So no matter if we do that, it's a rule violation. Yeah? Now, if we go the other way, if we say we start from here and we go up, which is what I do, I say this is wave 1, and we would say this here is wave 2, then we don't have a wave 3. Yeah, like if that would be wave 3, it's too short, it's not exceeding wave 1, which is a rule violation. If we say this here is wave 3, then somehow we ignore the whole drop down here, which went over like 9 years, yeah, and I don't feel comfortable ignoring 9 years of time. So if we label it as, like I do, 1, 2, we have the rule violation that point number 2 goes below point number 0. But I think that it might be possible that, or it's a reasonable explanation to say, well, the company had a value before it went public. So there are candles that we haven't seen where the company at some point was worth nothing. They just started, and then they worked up to their IPO. So technically that point 0 could be lower. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that adds up. Like I've seen one guy on YouTube in the comments mention that he would label it as a corrective pattern. So like doesn't matter if it's like ABC or whatever corrective pattern, but that would then indicate. I'm gonna copy the links that people shared. Let's check real quick. First we have chart. That's then about PLTR. Oops. I didn't copy. My mistake. Copy again. No, I have it differently. I actually had it wrong earlier. Yeah. Now we don't have it here. Let's jump real quick there because I bought Palantir today, PLTR as well today again. So, and we look at the daily chart. And the way I see it is, so first of all, the way I see it is that this is wave 1, and we're working or are already finished wave 2. And then with the corrective pattern, we could, I'm not sure exactly how I had it. Let's check. So A, B, yeah, then C would be. Technically, wave 2 could have ended here from the price levels, yeah. But this predicts wave 2 perfectly. No, that's not it. Up. That's not it. How did I know I also had it wrong because I labeled the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. Let's check. I mean, if it would be like this, if that's A, which would be obviously insane, it falls short for B, but then we would see a very massive drop, which would also go far beyond the regular drop. Now, the first line here, that's around 50, not 50, that's around 38% retracement or so, and the bottom line here is around 50% retracement. And yeah, like, we could see 68% retracement, which would add up with how I'd labeled it before. But yeah, like, if you label this here, you also have to consider that for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to add up, and in this case it could also be diagonal, yeah. So it can be a leading diagonal. You could also theoretically jump on lower time frames. So you could use the right click here at the 1 and drill down and forward and then pick a lower time frame, because technically maybe on the hourly chart or 30-minute chart you might be able to fit the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already in here, yeah, or it fits in here. Interestingly enough, from the price areas that are predicted for a zigzag, that would match for A, B, but not for C. Yeah? So it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I might be overall wrong. Mario, I think, also said that he thinks that we are already in wave 3 now, or that will be wave 3 for Palantir, and that's why, like, it's also what we can do, because zigzags also would work well with trend channels, yeah. So even if we don't use a Elliott wave, but we rely more on trend channels, then we would actually have a confirmed breakout here, which makes it likely that we go up from here, yeah. So if we would still be within that channel, then I would consider it more likely that we might see another drop. But considering the predicted area from wave 1 and that we have the breakout from the channel, I think it's more likely that this is actually the point where we have our wave 3. But yeah, like, consider it possible that we might see another drop here in Palantir. Yeah, but yeah, so that was Palantir, and then we have yeah, we have another link here. That's probably the book he wanted to share, L-Wave.com. Okay, and then he also, let's check. Oh, cool, that's interesting. So gonna check. Did you notice any differences? I'm gonna copy that link and share it so people can just click on it. Any differences in those patterns or in those in that book or data here? So I'm gonna bookmark the book. Yeah, basic theory. Okay, there's also no statement about, but I'm going to put that aside. Like, you guys can check that out yourself. Maybe an alternative source for rules. And back we go, and yeah, back we go to GameStop monthly. So the, oops, wrong GME, GameStop. So the bigger problem, as mentioned, is if we look on the monthly chart, that based on how I interpret the Elliott wave principle book, that we always have to be in an impulse or as part of an impulse. Yeah. So, and if in the biggest degree, yeah, and that by definition would make it very likely that on the biggest degree, for example, this could be a wave 1, or it could not even be it could not be finished as wave 1 as well. Yeah, so it could be that this is not fully finished wave 1, which is our assumption or my assumption. But no matter how we label it, if we would try to label it as an impulse that starts from here, 0, 1, rule violation. If we try to label it from here, there's no way we can label it. We are able to label, let's clear that. We are able to label the first couple of years and say roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, which is great. And we are able to label a little bit further and say, for example, I don't know, A, B, C, which then in turn would automatically mean that for the time being that would make wave 1 and wave 2. And technically we could say that corrective pattern is longer, so it takes wave 2 till here. But then if we do it like this, we have a rule violation the moment the whole mess here starts. Yeah? And L wave, the Elliott wave, yes it is. Like, to what question? So like I'm trying to settle if anybody has an alternative labeling for the data since IPO. My labeling would, as mentioned, go like this. And from here, then that would be wave 4. And while that doesn't hold to the theory of yeah, like we're not able to put it in a nice trend channel to say it like this. We only have 2 rule violations, and I can explain both nicely. That one based on buying restrictions, and that one based on we already had a value before the IPO. And I'm curious if anybody has a L-Wave is a software. Yeah, I got that when at some point, but they also basically have the literature that explains stuff. Yeah, so but yeah, we'll take a look at the software as well. So, are you using that, Mario? And Ben said it's a software. Yeah. What L-Wave can do. Cool. What's the pricing? Order now. Price information. Country, let's say Germany. Price starts at €80 per month for select. So you basically have to get different packages. Is this monthly or is this one time? And you also have to buy the data feed, UDS server feed, 3 months, $39 per month, blah, 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 and free with premium service contract. So if you have the premium service contract, which is $295, you don't have to pay for that. Got it, yeah, so. But second license, regular service contract, so if we, yeah, it doesn't work. So, but in FAQ is the information that that you point to, yeah. But on the page that you link to, I didn't see a statement that is specifically confirming what I'm saying, that we should always be within a bigger impulse wave, yeah. And again, like the biggest possible error that could be is if the labeling here is wrong. By the way, on another aspect, if we look into the book, it always also reminds us, although now we are looking at the monthly chart, yeah, but it also mentions that usually 2 of the 5 waves are very similar, yeah, which means technically it took 9 candles, so 9 months to develop this wave number 3. So and the candle grew by 18,700%. So technically wave 5, since obviously wave 3 and wave 1 have nothing in common, 18,000%, a little bit more. So like this, 7,009 candles. So technically, if that is a rule that would need to be enforced, technically it could be that we still have like a long time to wait, but that it will look like this. Yeah. So, and yeah, Mario says he continues with Webull and using Fibonacci. Yeah, I think it's like a great way. I'm just spoiled by being able to look at the price areas. But I'm also starting to look closer into the Fibonacci chapters to be able to kind of like double check, which in wave basis is not as easy because the Fibonacci tools, or as soon as you start overlaying multiple tools, it's becoming a little bit tricky. Yeah? And yeah, that's why I'm looking at alternatives. And the best one that I found so far would actually be MotiveWave. The other software that you just shared, L-Wave, I will look into it. It seems more expensive than MotiveWave, and question is how much better it is. Like ideally, best case scenario for me would be that my application at TD Ameritrade gets accepted. I know it's like one of the brokers that also feeds Citadel, if I'm not mistaken, but it's the only broker on the list supported by MotiveWave that would save me some money for paying for data feeds, and where I could then basically trade from within the MotiveWave application. And yeah, you gotta pick your battles. And yeah, if I see a triangle correction after a 5-wave impulse, do I expect another correction wave C if the triangle is wave A? You guys love torturing me when it comes to corrections, yeah? So if you have a triangle, let's ask around, like there you have basically the complete summary would be around page, yeah, give me a second, would be around page 86. There you have all the rules and guidelines. So, and if we there look for, let's see if I can find a triangle. Yeah, so contracting triangle would be page 90, barrier triangle also page 90, expanding. So it would already make a difference if it's like a contracting triangle or expanding triangle. And then a triangle always subdivides into 5 waves, at least 4 waves among blah, blah, blah. At least 4 out of 5 waves subdivide into a zigzag or a zigzag combination. And that's for contracting triangle, by the way. Yeah? And a triangle never has more than one complex subwave, in which case it's always a zigzag combination or another triangle. Yeah? I fell asleep at page 97. Well, congrats. At page 86, you start to have like pretty much everything that's on this cheat sheet are all the rules. Yeah. So for each pattern. And on page 86, you really have like all the rules and then the guidelines. So rules have to be enforced and can only be violated with like, or broken when you really have a good justification, like buying restrictions. Yeah. And guidelines don't have to be enforced. And yeah, so trying to, if I see a triangle correction after a 5-wave impulse, do I expect another correction wave C? I would basically try to predict the price area. So if you were to use Fibonacci, so you would add a Fibonacci retracement for 0 to 1. And you would expect a drop into roughly the 61.8 area, yeah, like, which is usually the bottom of the predicted area in wave basis, yeah. But so if your triangle correction already got you there, or it's like, that's why this area is highlighted, like most corrections either go to the 61.8 or 38.2, if I remember it right, or 68 point, yeah, like, but basically there's a whole chapter about this that talks about Fibonacci and how it plays into everything in our life and even our DNA, which is insane. And yeah, so, but if your triangle already got you there, then I would consider it done. If you're still far away from there, then I would expect another pattern to follow. Yeah, and waves also have a Fibonacci relation in time, if not probably are from an upper or lower cycle. Yeah. Yeah, but with the relation in time, I'm not sure how accurate that always is, and I'm not sure how it applies to a situation like GameStop. Yeah, like, I mean, there is some point where, because if we consider the rules, yeah, none of the rules state that within an impulse, two waves take roughly the same time or something like that. Yeah. So when we focus on the rules are about percentage movement of the price. And especially in GameStop, I wouldn't go as far to try to focus on the time relation. But I showed it earlier. Maybe you didn't, you weren't there yet. I mentioned it in Tesla, that because we don't have that tool in wave basis, but on the, not in Tesla, still in GameStop, my mistake. GameStop on the hourly chart, that if we take that stupid spiral Fibonacci here and we have a wave 1, 2 here, then the crossing point, so the spiral goes, and likely this point here is the end of wave number 5. Yeah, so of a bigger degree, or the end of a wave of a bigger degree, so wave 1 of a bigger degree. So that's how it was. Yeah, which is kind of insane. Like, literally, I mean, I haven't tested it deeply and with enough samples, but if that applies, for example, even only 8 out of 10 times, it's literally insane. It's like, how is it possible that free markets, just based on human psychology, follow things like that? Yeah? Even if it's not 100% of the time, as long as it's more than 50% of the time, it would, actually, if it's correct 30% of the time, it would already be an insane tool to, oh, I'm going to buy because that snail spin or that twirl here goes up there, so that's going to be my next buying point, yeah, or my next take profit. So yeah, but that's that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have low volume now, by the way, in GameStop, and we're moving sideways again. Technically, again, possible that we're still seeing that drop to 150, although it was already there in pre-market, but pre-market obviously is irrelevant on the chart. So I think considering the pre-market data is kind of like trying to confirm our own bias or our own opinion by saying, yeah, we already were down there in pre-market. Yeah, like, I mean, maybe if we would have a charting software that would always include pre and aftermarket, and we labeled it then, maybe the patterns would be different, but maybe they would still have to hold up. It's hard to say because pre-market suffers from lower volume and therefore automatically higher volatility. But yeah, so there's really a lot. I think Elliott wave theory is, at first, how can it be accurate? Then you start to understand that there is a lot of flexibility within those wave patterns, although there are not many patterns, but especially with corrective waves, they can combine in so many different ways that they are able to express any kind of movement. Yeah. And also there's flexibility with the impulse waves, that they could be extended, or wave 3 could be extended, wave 5 could be extended, both could be extended. In rare cases, wave 1 is extended, and so on. So there's so much flexibility that literally at any time you can label it likely in 2 or 3 different ways that might all point towards different destinations, but still be true. Likely or ideally, you would try to find a stock where 2, 3, 4 alternative labelings that follow the rules still all point towards the same direction. But yeah, like, I like Elliott wave theory probably even more than I like the stock. Yeah, so we'll see with Palantir how that plays out. Yeah, dropping a little bit. Yeah. So let's see. What else do we have? Not so much. Okay, fell asleep, contracting. Yeah. So contracting triangle. And somebody elsewhere was asking for trying to figure out how to count chart all this. Can you take a look at my counting? If you're using wave basis, you can click on the arrow up here, so share. And then you just copy from the window that appears, not the entire link, but you just copy the part after the domain. So chart image, chart img / and then that random stuff. And if you're using anything else, then take a screenshot and upload it to Imgur. And then on Imgur, just copy, it's either gallery / something or it's a / something. Just copy the part after imgur.com and share that in the chat. And then I will open it up here on the screen and we will take a look. Yeah, so and see how we can figure that out. Yeah, spam, yeah. And then actually, so we're gonna, I think, where are we now? So I think we're gonna, yeah, like wait for that screenshot. And if nobody else has anything to share, I think we're gonna call it quits for today. I'm not gonna stream till market close as announced last week. And volume is like quite low now, and yeah, volatility is gone. So yep, like this, perfect. And therefore I'm gonna do other things. I'm used to my lazy life, and last week, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. Last week I actually had another almost 60-hour work week. Nope, copied something wrong. Nope. So, and almost, yeah, almost, that also needs to go. There we go. That's an empty chart. Like there is no labeling. So the sharing is great, but you first need to label it with, yeah, like, since you're asking, like, can you take a look at my counting? So I don't see counting there or labeling, which, yeah, which technically makes your labeling correct because there currently is no labeling. But yeah. Do you think it will end around 180? It's tricky to say, you know, because the big question is really if the assumption that Mario came up with first, actually already last week, where the overall assumption was that we look at something like wherever the B is, yeah, but like this. Yeah, can I highlight that? So could be like this, could be like this. So last week at first we had it then like this, which kind of like looked nice and made sense. Yeah. Now it would be more likely like this. So the big question is really if this is our wave 2 point, or if either our pattern is like this, which means we still would have to see that drop, or if our pattern is like zigzag, some random corrective pattern I have no idea how to label, and another zigzag, which also would indicate down here. So which would likely, I don't know, I would have to take a guess, but I would expect it to start happening like today already. So you have the start of that recovery. Maybe it even closes the gap. Yeah, like gaps don't always get closed, but very often. And so maybe it even closes the gap, and then suddenly you have another huge sell-off somehow. Yeah. So it's like really tricky. Now we have some movement again. So I'm saying there's no volume and no movement, and then it starts moving again. Yeah. So why didn't you do that last week? Maybe if I check the kitchen, maybe my wife is cooking. That usually is an indicator for up movement. Yeah. Yeah. So you said it's labeled for you. So I mean, if I refresh that, I think when you share it again, you get a different link. So yeah, but I think at some point, if we move high enough here, so if we move high enough here, it also removes, or it also moves the area for point C. Yeah, so if we were to close that gap here, then our area C would still be in the 150, 160 area. Mario, based on his labeling, also thinks that it will still see 153. and one could argue if the pre-market counts for that or no. And yeah, it's like, there's also a part in the book I reread yesterday, and it's pretty much if the market doesn't make sense, so if you're not able to label the complicated corrective patterns, you're not able to figure them out, then either just zoom out, so basically look at a bigger time frame. And if we look at that, not this pattern of course, but if we look at the bigger time frame, we have it like so like this, which tells us everything's good, yeah, and then basically just wait for the market to finish the pattern until it makes sense to you. So, and I think we're in one of those situations where maybe Mario's detailed labeling is right, and maybe I think George also shared something, so maybe one of those is right. Maybe that corrective pattern actually ended there, and whatever we see here is actually can't, because we have a new low, or not, 163. Oh no, could. So I think we'll just have to have another couple of days patience to see the end of that corrective mess here, and yeah, like then take it from there. So hard to say if we will finish in the 180 area. So many, not even just using Elliott wave, like if we use the idea of gaps usually get filled, then we would see a movement further up until the, what do we have here, 188. Already close to that, or did we already see it? Yeah, not fully closed yet. And which would also then possibly trigger or still be an option for then a drop and so on. So yeah, but yeah. So I'm gonna call it a day now, and thank you all for tuning in. I will be live the whole week at 30 minutes before market open. Only exception on Thursday, there I have a dentist appointment and don't know if I will manage to be on time. Therefore, currently the stream is scheduled for an hour after market open roughly. But if I'm back in time, I will be online as usual or as announced, so 30 minutes before market open. Yeah, so I think we'll have to watch and play this out. Mario says it's like patience is the key. The third wave will come, definitely. So it could go down a little further. It could already be over. At some point, we will see enough candles to know that we're now definitely in wave number 3. And then we will also have more accuracy again with the predictions, because as we figured out already, impulse waves are easier to label and predict the price targets, because there are not 6, 7 variations of them with different nested rules than the corrective patterns. Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in, and thanks Mario for sharing your labeling, and George and everyone else. Like, it's really always great to see you. Should we have another huge jump later in the day, so something that would indicate a squeeze or something, then I'd definitely go online, but I don't expect, in quotes, the squeeze to happen today. Nobody knows when it will, but yeah. And yeah, like, so let's just see how that plays out. And yeah, like, we probably will just have to, yeah, wait and see. So, oh, Pranay still shared the link. That's the last thing we're gonna quickly take a look at. So copy that, and just gonna up, and copy, and there we go. And that's on the hourly chart. And yeah, that's correct. Like, I'm not sure about that pattern down here. Yeah, but there we have the low. That's the corrective pattern that comes from the high after the buying restrictions. And then here basically you have wave 1, wave 2, and which means we're in a wave 3, which means, or actually that 2 is what might not be correct, which would be here, which is what we currently, what's currently making us trouble, this whole corrective pattern. So this 2 could be wrong and could be this point here, or like Mario assumes very strongly, and like I see also as a possibility that we still see the drop to 150, which means this 2 wouldn't be finished yet. So this 2 is still somewhere in the air. That's the only thing, yeah. And yeah, I think it's already invalidated with this tip roughly, but may not be. But still, you already have a problem if the 2 is here, and then your next wave, so the lower wave would be 1, so 0, 1, 2. Usually wave number 2 doesn't retrace that far. So it would be more likely, if we wouldn't have this from today, if it's like this, 1, 2, it's more plausible than the way it looks now. So it's likely that this isn't finished yet, yeah. But with that, I'm actually gonna go because I also need to take a leak. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in. See you all tomorrow, and probably gonna also write a post tomorrow in super stonks on subreddit. So not on our GME, but on our super stonks. So yeah, thank you all. It's really been my pleasure, and till next time. Bye-bye.